Hey, this is Ben Lalez. I'm actually out front of your for sale sign, 2838 Homan. Oh, un poquito.
Estamos al frente de la casa que está vendiendo como 2838 Homan. Estamos interesados en ver.
Kind of taking, the broad picture all together. So on our first purchase, you're living in it right now with your girlfriend.
Yep.
And, saving money by not renting.
Correct.
On your second purchase in Rogers Park, it's currently being rented for
$16.95 a month.
And now this next one, which we're under contract for, you picked it up for around $105,000.
Correct.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
So we're cash flowing somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,200.
Yep.
And you are property managing these yourself.
I'm property managing them myself, which I think, for a lot of people as they get started in real estate is very daunting, right? It's like, I don't want to be a landlord. Me personally, I don't own a hammer, right? So I know nothing about being handy, but it's very, very feasible, especially if you're buying properties that aren't going to need a whole lot of work, right? Obviously there can be the one-off emergency, but knock on wood for me so far, it's been great. I outsource any maintenance issues, and it's been frankly somewhat easy so far. So for anybody like looking to get into it, I would say don't let that be a barrier to entry for you. Can I get through? No idea.
Hi, this is Anna.
Hey, this is Ben Lalez. I'm actually showing some properties over by your listing on Homan, and my client saw it's a commercial listing, barbershop.
It's a mixed-use property. Yeah, it has a storefront and it has an apartment upstairs.
He was telling me 157 or something like that.
It's 119.
Oh, 119. What's the condition of the residential unit above?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's livable. It's not bad.
How much does it rent for today, you think?
I don't know. It's a bank-owned property.
Oh, it's bank owned. Got it.
It's
Okay.
a foreclosure.
So this was kind of like an impromptu.
Yeah, I mean, this is a strategy, right? We were looking at a couple places in the neighborhood and, I think people call it driving for dollars. We saw a couple for sale signs, buy owner, give them a call. And now we're going to try to pop into this one that's owned by the bank. So that presents some unique challenges and potential opportunities, I think Benny would say.
Yes. Dealing with a bank is a little different.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how normal.
Well, to be
it is.
fair, the property that I bought on Fargo in Rogers Park was bank owned, and that's been a really good investment.
Talk us through like the property management aspect, being a landlord and having, little to no experience on that end, what that looked like for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think at first it was a little bit scary, right? You have to, thankfully I have you as a great resource, but you helped me find the renter, get it under, sign the lease and do all that stuff. You also kind of referred to me my main maintenance person, Al, who's great. So, anytime there's issues, I kind of just call him and he goes down there. I mean, I had to make the occasional trip down there to inspect and kind of make sure everything was okay if the renter had an issue. But so far I've been able to outsource all that and I'm pretty hands off. My place in Rogers Park, for example, as we were talking about, I've never actually even met the renter yet. They've been in there for a couple months, which is great because there haven't been any issues and they're a good tenant, so it's been easy. Look bad. Looks like this is relatively recent.
So you know how we talk about tuck pointing all the time?
Yeah.
Here's the worst tuck pointing I think I may have ever seen in my whole life.
Oh boy. I was actually going to say it looked pretty
So
good.
what's that?
This is called tuck pointing. So these are you're supposed to replace like the joint lines every so often, and this is about as bad a job as I've ever seen.
It's not a bad little space.
Oh, boom, we got light.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Any
might as well.
value add down there?
I don't think so. I don't even know if you're gonna fit down here.
Let me throw on the light. Dude, this is a little unit down here. There's a
No way.
Yeah, there's a kitchen.
Who in the world lives down here?
It's very small.
Oh my god, there is a kitchen.
Wow.
What is this, an apartment for ants?
Wow.
How many hours a week, a month, do you actually think you spend actively property managing any of this stuff?
Probably, around 2 hours, right?
A week or a month?
A month, maybe. So it's, and sometimes like the Rogers Park place, the tenant's been in there since May 15th. I've spent maybe an hour, and it's, mid-June now. So it's been very hands-off. It's not as stressful as people make it out to be. I think if people could take anything away from this video, from my perspective, somebody that's trying to continue to build in the real estate world, being a landlord is ultimately not that daunting and not that challenging. There's so many resources you can use nowadays to help you level up in that regard.
A lot of people, they'll buy real estate and they're so scared.
Yeah.
And you do not need a property management company. You don't even need me or someone like me to help you out until you're at like 10 units,
for sure.
where the rent collection can potentially become an issue, managing the leases and renewals. But 2, 3, 4, 5 units is super manageable as, a side hustle. You have a full-time job and, it's no issue. And when there is an issue, I'm not going anywhere. So Kevin is, calling me or texting me asking what the appropriate response would be. Or he'll call his maintenance guy. Maintenance guy is in touch with the tenant directly, and he doesn't really have to do anything. Yeah, it may cost a couple bucks, but we are, working in that couple bucks into our analysis on the front end.
195.
Got it. 2 units or 3?
¿Cuántos units? ¿Cuántos?
195.
Apartamentos.
¿Cuántos apartamentos? ¿Dos apartamentos? ¿Cuántos cuartos cada apartamento? Dos recámaras y cuántos baños? 2 bedroom, 2 bath.
Per unit.
Per unit, yeah.
So I want to talk about a funny moment on our search.
Okay.
I'm sure you remember. So we were on the street, you see a sign that said for sale by owner.
Yes.
And you just took out your phone and you're like, I'm gonna call this guy. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And the guy didn't speak English very well.
He was a Spanish speaker, and hablo un poquito de español, but not a whole lot. And thankfully, Sebastian, who was behind the camera at the time, is from Venezuela, and he's fluent in Spanish. So he kind of grabbed the phone while you grabbed the camera, which was a great move by you. It's a seasoned, true professional move. And we had a little dialogue. And I think Sebastian was a little flustered because he's not used to being on camera.
No.
And all of a sudden he couldn't speak Spanish, even though he grew up in Venezuela and is completely fluent. And you had to tell him how to say like building or edificio or something. Apartment.
Sebastian, come here.
Sebastian, show your face.
Sebastian, come
Show
over
yourself.
Okay. I don't know. Should I just like sit on the floor?
Just kneel down. No, kneel. So tell us what was going through your head at that time. Here.
I don't know. I was just kind of like, first of all, I didn't know what to ask. So I had to like ask you and then kind of translate in my head and then ask the guy. And then at one point, I had to ask like how many like rooms they had or whatever. And I totally like blanked out. I was thinking of the word in English. And I was like, what is it that I'm supposed to say? And then actually Ben told me what.
So, stick around. So, how does it feel to be in front of the camera instead of behind the camera for once?
It feels terrible. I hate it.
Well, you look great. You're doing great.
Like in this kind of like kneel position in between both of you, I feel like I'm getting forced right now.
Hold on one second.
Yep, try some mint.
Here you go. You're one of the team now.
Oh, wow.
Now, Sebastian is for hire. He is, really a seasoned veteran, and we love having him. And if you, need any help with your video needs, we will put Sebastian's Instagram
He's the guy.
right there. And thanks, Sebastian. Go get back to work.
Great content.
That was some good stuff.
That
man.
was good content.
That really was.